Okay, today we want to talk about the online ACT. Yes, you heard me right. It's coming, right, Tracy?
That's right around the corner.
Yep. So I am Lisa Marker-Robbins. I'm the founding CEO of Leap, and Tracy Eads is, former and current Leap
Mhm.
parent, mom of four boys, but she joined us a year and a half ago as our client relationship manager, and she helps guide families to figuring out all the things related to testing timelines and test prep and all that. So you had a parent reach out today, right, Tracy? And even though we knew ACT said earlier this year, we're going to start in 2024 offering an online version of the ACT that is the exact same test as a paper test. So ACT, unlike SAT, is committed to a paper version and an online version. So hear me loud and clear. You can take either. The paper's not going away. And that's different than the SAT, which we'll talk about another time. Let's stay ACT focused today. So it's coming. They said they would pilot in December of 2023, and then they would begin launching that option in 2024. We know that that means that school districts have to be willing and active participants to host an online ACT site. They have to say, yep, we will host and we'll do it online. And because that's new and different, it's probably going to be a little bit of a long runway in seeing schools adopt that. But you had a surprise today, Tracy, right? And we should say we are recording this and going live with this in September of 2023. So what was the surprise, Tracy, that you encountered with a client today?
Yes, so I had a parent who was interested in ACT testing in the fall. She initially contacted me and said, hey, she can't find any testing locations because she inadvertently picked the computer option on the ACT website. So when you go onto the ACT website and register for a test, you can choose between computer option or paper testing.
And
So
that's
she,
new. I mean, that
yeah,
option was not there, a month ago, right? So before you'd go on, it would just say, we'll find test sites in your zip code. And now when you log in, you're going to choose between I'm looking for online or I'm looking for paper test.
mhm.
And we didn't realize that it had appeared yet. So, okay, so she goes on, she clicks, I want online.
Yes, she clicks the computer option because her student would be better suited for the computer test, and found that in our area in December, there are computer tests available at Milford High School. So that is where they're looking at taking the ACT, and that's a better option for their student is the computer test as compared to the paper test. The student also has experience with that computer test because his school offered that in the spring of this year. So he has some experience with that computer version, and that's the one that he wants to take.
I think you just indicated something that I think we should like back up and educate people on. So, the online ACT has been given for quite a few years internationally and quite a few years. I think it was 2017 or 18. If high schools who were doing either district wide testing or statewide testing wanted to offer it online. What we've seen here in the greater Cincinnati area and throughout the state of Ohio is most high schools for Ohio state testing, which happens in February and March, they were opting for pencil to paper ACT.
Mm-hmm.
However, one of the larger high schools in our area, probably the largest high school in our area, switched last year to an online test. So some students have had experience taking the online ACT. And that state test online is the same type of test that we're talking about that ACT is going to roll out as an option in 2024. So their pilot actually is, well, you can go to a high school that's listed when you're registering to take the test. But I mean, we looked ahead, Tracy, we logged into ACT and I mean, what were the other high schools? Because we searched through July to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how many greater Cincinnati area high schools right now have stepped up and have this option? And what were
Right.
the other schools?
In Ohio, the options were Hamilton High School and Milford High School. And then in Northern Kentucky, Cooper High School and Union, Kentucky is also offering the online ACT. Yep.
So, and those, depending on what area of Cincinnati you're in, then, and we only searched in the greater Cincinnati area. But once it got beyond 30 miles, it literally was going down to Georgetown, Kentucky, which is almost to Lexington. So for most Ohio students is going to be, well over an hour away. I think
Mm-hmm.
Centerville High School is an option for the February test as well, which is in the Dayton area. So we didn't
Yep.
search the whole state of Ohio. You can search by zip code. And so, Tracy, how did you advise this family? Like, did you advise them to go ahead with the December online test or switch over to paper? Like, what was your advice?
Correct. I did advise them to go ahead and take the online test since they had already had experience with that online test through their high school. So if a student, whatever the high school the student is going to attend, is going to take that online test in the spring of that junior year, then that student should also take the online test when they're taking the ACT on national test dates. If so, this is on you, parents and teens. Find out what test your high school will be giving, either the online version or the paper version. And recall, like Lisa mentioned earlier, it's the exact same test. It's just given in different formats. So whatever format your high school gives that ACT in the spring of the junior year is the format that your student should stick with.
I mean, it might feel tempting, like, oh, online, maybe that's easier, or maybe my kid would do better. But, to have to switch gears constantly, we don't want kids to have to do that because they're navigating a lot. We don't need to wear them out even more. So, as Tracy said, reach out to you. If you're an Ohio student, your high school will be giving a state ACT or SAT test. Most of them give the ACT. And they will have the option to give it online or pencil to paper. So ask first because you don't want to be going back and forth. Now, what kind of prep is that student doing with us?
Okay, so this student, they took the group course for their first test attempt, which is a fantastic option for all students. It's a very comprehensive course. So for their second test attempt, they're going to be tutoring with us. So we have revamped our group course and our tutoring to also include specific instructions for that online ACT.
So yeah, so we actually invested time and money over the summer to revise our curriculum that we use in both tutoring and the class, as Tracy said. And it says, here's how to navigate it. Here's the tools you're going to have available to use. And we even give them a link to go out and practice, timed practice in that format through ACT so that they are familiar with the tools. But like Tracy already said, the test is the exact same. It is going to be the same English, math, reading, science, same number of questions, same exact questions as you're going to get in a paper to pencil test. So thanks, Tracy, for helping us figure this out.
Yep.
So
Happy to.
I think that the first thing is if you have a junior, get out there and ask your high school, what test are you going to be giving my junior? And it's literally from like the last week of February to the last week of March. ACT or SAT, online or paper. If it's SAT, the digital SAT is coming. We'll link to that blog here below this one so that you can figure that out too. Thanks, Tracy.